Bismillah. So today, inshallah, we're going to distinguish between al-jawf and the throat, and little bit tricky points between the letters and how to choose the proper answer. Okay, if you have to be 100% focused in the exam, inshallah. For example, here al-jawf. The tricky point that you have الواو المادية, الياء المادية, and الألف المادية. Here when I'm saying that I have الواو المادية, which means واو ساكنة preceded by ضمة, suitable vowel, which is ضمة. So واو مادية preceded by ضمة here, or واو ساكنة like قولوا, this واو ساكنة preceded by ضمة over letter القاف قو, this one. Okay, الياء المادية which is ياء ساكنة preceded by كسرة like عظيم. ميقات ياء ساكنة preceded by ميم with a كسرة. Okay, and الألف المادية which is ألف ساكنة preceded by فتحة. The suitable vowel with that ألف is الفتحة. So كان like that, كان كافرين كافر. So ألف preceded by الفتحة. A little bit tricky between الحروف اللينة and الحروف المادية. الياء اللينة and الواو اللينة which is واو ساكنة preceded by فتحة. Okay, and this واو you have to pronounce it from its articulation point, which is different one. So الحروف اللينة from the different articulation point. Now we are going to distinguish between them. For example, الواو and ياء المادية from approximate articulation point. But الواو and ياء المتحركة, you can say المتحركة with a vowel, واو فتحة, واو كسرة, واو ضمة, ياء فتحة, ياء كسرة, ياء ضمة. Or الواو and ياء اللينة which is واو ساكنة preceded by فتحة and ياء ساكنة preceded by فتحة as well. In this case, I have specific articulation point for each one. So الياء from middle of the tongue, الواو from the lips. Okay, this is a tricky, we should know in الجوف. And all these letters, الحروف الجوفية, الحروف الجوفية, we called it this group الحروف الجوفية, or emitting from the empty space of the mouth and the throat, both together. So الحروف الجوفية or الحروف الهوائية. Okay, we called it like that. Second point we have today to distinguish between الحروف in the throat itself. Yeah, همزة هاء, عين حاء, غين خاء. الحروف الحلقية, we called it الحروف الحلقية or the throat letters, الحروف الحلقية. Here الهمزة and الهاء you have to struggle to pronounce it clearly. Okay, and just to give it a little bit tricky. Here, for example, for letter الهاء, what should I do to pronounce it properly? Opening the windpipe and releasing air. In this case, I'm going to pronounce or to produce letter الهاء. Okay, opening the windpipe and releasing air. In this case, I'm going to pronounce letter الهاء only from the deepest part of the throat. But for letter al-hamza, letter al-hamza contains what? Jahr, holding the breath, yeah? And for letter al-hamza as well, we have to hold our sound, which is shidda, strength. Because of the shidda and al-jahr, I'm going to do what here? Closing the windpipe, closing the windpipe. This is tricky in between al-ha and hamza. So closing the windpipe, okay, and then opening it to produce letter al-hamza. You know, this tricky in between letter al-ha and letter al-hamza. So in letter al-ha, I will start by opening the windpipe, yeah, and releasing the air. But for letter al-hamza, I'm going to close the windpipe and then open it to produce or pronounce letter al-hamza. Okay? Then for letter al-ain and ha, this is called what? Middle of the throat and the whole throat. The whole throat to produce letter al-ain and letter al-ha. And we can add little bit description, to say pronounce it from the whole throat and by lowering your tongue, for example, because you have, as you know, letter al-ain and letter al-ha from حروف الاستفال or lowering the tongue. Yeah, little bit tricky, to be careful enough when you choose the proper answer. Last point for al-ghain and the kha. Al-ghain and kha from the same point of articulation, which is closest part of the throat or adna al-halq. Here, join the tongue with upper, you see, upper, inner, soft palate. Soft palate, upper, inner with a soft palate to produce letter al-ghain and letter al-kha. Again, join the tongue. Join the tongue with upper inner with a soft palate here to produce letter al-ghain and letter al-kha. And here I came to give you, for example, question for letter al-ghain, the same definition, and only add that contains only rakhawa, okay, without breath out, which is softness, and the no breath out, which is no whispering. Yeah, no whispering. So I will choose only letter al-ghain, not al-kha. So if I give you this definition, join the tongue with upper, inner, soft palate to produce letter al-ghain and kha. Here I will choose letter al-ghain and kha. But if I add little bit tricky to distinguish between al-ghain and kha, that here I have a letter al-ghain only softness. Yeah, let your sound flow. But in letter al-kha, I'm going to tell you like that. Join the tongue with upper, inner, soft palate and releasing air. In this case, I will choose letter al-kha only, because al-kha contains what? Whispering, which is al-hams. Letter al-kha, I have hams wa rakhawa. Hams wa rakhawa. Softness and whispering. But for letter al-ghain, only I have softness, no whispering. Yeah? And another tricky in this case, if I tell you, if you let your breath flow in letter al-ghain, it will be letter al-kha. Okay? So to distinguish between letters, a little bit tricky, you have to be 100% focused. After that, you have to distinguish between al-qaf and al-kaf here with a soft palate. Aqsa al-lisan, the deepest part of the tongue. Here, deepest part of the tongue, I have letter al-qaf and letter al-kaf under it. Yeah? What we have for tricky here, this group of letters, we call it الحروف اللهوية. اللهوية, be careful. اللهوية, from اللهاء, the roof, yeah, from the roof or this place. Call it اللهوية, not الهوائية. الهوائية, we call الحروف الهوائية, which is حروف الجوف. But here, الحروف اللهوية to start by اللام, اللا, this is called الحروف حرف القاف and letter الكاف. This group of letters, القاف and كاف. called الحروف اللهوية. Okay? The deep part of the tongue when returned to touch the soft palate. Soft palate. Be careful about this key word. Soft palate. In this case, I'm going to produce letter what? القاف. Yeah? القاف. But for the definition of letter الكاف, I'm going to say that the very last end of the tongue, slightly above letter al-qaf. So you have here letter al-qaf, and here this place. This is what I want. And this place. And which is more towards inside. More towards inside the mouth. Again, this definition, the very last end of the tongue, slightly above letter al-qaf, which is more towards the this keyword, inside the mouth. So to say inside the mouth, this one, under al-qaf. Here al-qaf, and this is inside the mouth. We have letter, or to produce letter, al-kaf, because al-kaf is light one. So I'm going to go inner. Yeah? Another definition for letter al-kaf, returning the deep part of the tongue. Deep part or deepest part, both right. Deep part of the tongue to the front or soft palate. To the front or the soft palate. Here I mean letter al-kaf as well. You have to be careful enough to choose in between them. If you have any question in these letters, حروف, first one, حروف الجوف, which is الحروف المادية. And the tricky point, how to distinguish between الحروف المادية and الحروف اللينة. They are the different articulation point from each other to distinguish between them. Second point, about what? The throat and how to distinguish between ha and hamza. Then between al-ghain and kha. After that, in between them, letter al-ain and ha. Last point about al-qaf and kaf, how to distinguish between them to choose the proper answer. جزاكم الله خيرا. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase us in knowledge. And if you have any questions, inshallah, send me back. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خيرا. Now, inshallah, we are going to start the lesson Surah Muhammad. Okay, تفضلي Sister عائشة.